Hello, everyone. This is Jorge Diaz, president and founder of Larry Jacob Internet Marketing, and I'm bringing you another episode of Transforming Small Business Thinking. This is part two of a two-part episode with MaryKay Morgan. MaryKay, thank you so much for being with me.
I'm excited to be back.
Cool. So if you haven't seen the first part of this, we really go through the history of what, the webinar tools that are available. MaryKay kind of discussed the features they were trying to address, why another webinar tool. So knock yourself out, go to that. In the show notes, we're going to be including a link back to the previous one. But what MaryKay promised us is that she's going to give us a demo of this tool. And by the way, we were talking, before as part of the prep, and what's the price point for Convert More webinars?
Well, the price point is $67 a month. Except for right now and until the end of August, we are in what's called a beta launch. And so we're taking on our first group of customers within that time frame. If you're watching this between now and the end of August 2019, then you can actually get on board for $47 a month as a beta user. So
you're locked into the $49 a month for forever.
Yeah, $47 a month. If you come on as a beta user, that is your price point. It does not go up.
Cool. And then later it'll be up at $69 a month, which, by the way, I mean, price-wise, definitely, fair price. So get us started. Show this thing to us. And one thing I was really excited is it's running on your WordPress site, which I thought was like, what a cool idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to click the share screen button and take us to this is our demo registration page. And we have a cute little video that's going to be behind this registration that has baby goats in it. I have to be a big fan of baby goats.
So that's the video of the web. I mean, that is the webinar.
That's our stand-in webinar. That's exactly right, our stand-in webinar. And so, as I say, we obviously just use this for demonstration purposes, but that's where we are now.
Okay, so if you click on that, it says time zone. The font's kind of small, but it's. So I can.
Let me see. Will it help if I take it up a little bit? Oh, it's not going to let me because I'm on Zoom.
No, that's okay. I mean, I can see it. So if you click on, like, I want to pick a time. Right now it's 6 o'clock GMT. But
yeah, this is going to key off of the IP address of whomever you are when you register, when you load this page. And I'm in Mountain Time, so that's Mountain Time. Let's say I don't want it in Mountain Time. I want it in Pacific Time. I can change it.
Gotcha.
This is noted as Phoenix, but it gives us this worldwide drop down for time zones.
But it'll pick me based on my IP address.
It will pick you based on your IP address. Yeah. So for me, when I load this page, it's going to default to Mountain Time. The next piece, of course, is to select the date and time. Now, we have included here something called just in time. This has become very popular in the last few years. It's very effective. And what this allows someone to do is to actually register for a specific time, but one that is coming up almost immediately.
So right now I'm looking at my clock. It's 2:14 Mountain Time. I can wait 15 minutes and it starts.
That's exactly right. So it's going to kick you to the next quarter hour unless we are in that last minute of time, like it was somewhere between 2:14 and 2:15 when we pulled this open. And so it moved me around to the next 15 minutes. If we'd been 5 minutes earlier, we would have seen 2:15 as my just-in-time view opportunity.
Okay, so in the previous episode, you mentioned that studies have shown that if people sign up for something, they're more committed. Is this just-in-time, that fits into that whole thinking?
Yes, it absolutely does. And it also still allows us to run all of our follow-up based on a specific and chosen date and time for that particular registrant. So whether I choose Thursday, June 20th at 2:30 p.m., referencing Mountain Time, of course, being 2:30, or I want to watch it Monday morning, June 24th at 7, my automation is going to still run from the exact same campaign, regardless of what time that I choose.
And by the way, that's the one thing I've signed up myself for some of these webinars, and it's kind of like, I don't want to see it tomorrow at 10. I want to see it now because I'm doing my research now. And I don't mind waiting 15 minutes. I would mind having to wait a couple hours or a couple days.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a little bit different functionality built in depending upon when you actually choose to view the webinar. But all of that I cover in great detail in our product documentation. So our product documentation covers strategy as well as what we might call the tactical or nuts and bolts level of it. So no matter if you are very experienced at developing webinar funnels and really have the strategy down, or you really need to learn it from all of our many years of experience doing this, you have that option both ways.
Cool.
All right, so shall we register? Let's go ahead and register. I'm going to go ahead and pick the just-in-time option, and then I'm going to throw in a test email address here. All right. We are fully GDPR compliant, and you can change the language here to suit your needs. You can also leave the GDPR checkbox off altogether if you have no need for it, then you don't have to have it on there. But the plugin, the WordPress plugin, Convert More Webinars, is GDPR compliant. So we can get that information right there. And then we're going to click Go Baby Goats. The page will refresh here in just a moment. All right, so now we are in the waiting room. And George, what you and I may want to do, because I can't actually rush it, because I actually have registered for this time. So we may put this on pause for just a minute. It's totally up to you. We can also talk about
well, let's see. Let me ask you some questions. So this runs as a WordPress plugin.
Mm-hmm.
Install it into my WordPress site, and it integrates with Infusionsoft. Does it support other platforms?
Besides Infusionsoft and Keep?
Right.
Not yet.
Okay, but it might maybe do ActiveCampaign or some other platform.
There is definitely conversation to that end, but right now, and we really created this, kind of like the history of Memberium. It started as a solution for an individual who was using Infusionsoft, and so we stuck with that. I do want to, presence. Obviously, this is a very basic looking page, right? I just have a simple text that says, that's cueing you. This is the waiting room that holds the registrants till the view time. It will auto refresh to the view page. You could have this page have absolutely anything on it.
No, right. It's WordPress, right?
It's WordPress. It's your branding. It's your decision. You don't lose anything by having to have them sit over on someone else's, literally on someone else's structure.
Yeah. Now let me ask you. So I did a registration. This one, we're in the waiting room, which makes sense because this is going to start in maybe 10 minutes. But if I was scheduling this for tomorrow, I don't necessarily have to take it to the to this waiting room. I could put it on a thank you page and then say, hey, here's some links so that you put it on your calendar and all that great stuff, right?
That's exactly right. We have 5 pages that we recommend that you build uniquely to work with your webinar funnel. One of those pages is what we would call the standard thank you for registering page. And that page looks different than a waiting room page does.
For sure.
The waiting room is going to be presented in this case where we're coming in as a just in time. But also, let's say you send your registrant their 15 minutes before email that says we're starting in 15 minutes, and they click through 3 minutes early. Good for them, right? But we're going to take them to the waiting room until their actual registration time happens. And then this page will auto refresh to the webinar view page. So as I said, we have these 5 different pages. We also have a page, let's say they click through that link half an hour after the start of their scheduled time. They've missed it, right? So they're going to get to a page that's, you missed the webinar. What you as a business owner need to put on that page is 100% up to you. I believe never miss an opportunity to convert someone into some kind of a next step. So what does that next step need to look like in your particular scenario? You can really create whatever serves your customer and your offer on this spectrum of pages.
Yeah, and I can just start thinking, if someone showed up late and I have the option of showing them a very specific other page, I could put, hey, sorry we missed you. Would you like to see one of the previous recordings? And I could basically play the video off of Vimeo or YouTube, wherever I want to, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. There's just no limits to what you, as the business owner, as the marketer, as the developer of the strategy, can decide to do at any point in your funnel. It's your funnel. We don't want to dictate to you what your strategy should be. And then, as I've said many times, at the same time, if you're newer to this and just want to really put out a rock solid kind of what I might call the basic version that we know works, you don't have to work super hard to get that up and running either, because everything is in place for you to do that.
No, right, because you guys will give us the templates and stuff. And I think you had mentioned during the prep that you guys will also download some campaigns into their Infusionsoft account.
Yeah, we absolutely do. We have a campaign called the Classic Evergreen Webinar Campaign, and we will push that into your app. That does a few really cool things. One thing it does is it creates the custom fields in Infusionsoft, or I should say keep by Infusionsoft, that are necessary for the email follow-up to each and every registrant. So that's done for you. You don't have to do it second. And then it also creates a tag set, right? So we run this using custom fields and tags in Infusionsoft, and that gets pre-created when we push the campaign in.
Right, and by the way, right on here, we could have like a countdown timer, just counting down until it's ready, right? That's not something you guys offer, but that's like, pretty easy to implement.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing too, as coming in at the beta level, you have an opportunity to provide us with feedback on what the next features are that we're going to be adding into the system. We already have a list. Countdown timer is one of those that is under discussion. But obviously, to launch this, we wanted to solve three really big problems. We wanted tight integration with Infusionsoft, not gappy integration. If a tag that says my contact viewed the call to action doesn't get applied for 2 or 3 hours after that event actually happened, that's a problem. I'm missing important opportunity to follow up with them to purchase, right? So we wanted to solve that problem. We wanted to make sure that our affiliate cookie and history was able to be set in our Keep or Infusionsoft by Keep application. Actually, it would be Infusionsoft by Keep. We don't have affiliates in Keep. But for those who use affiliates to drive traffic, that's critically important. And you don't get that with the other systems that run through API. We also wanted to solve the problem of analytics. So if we
haven't spoken about analytics.
Right. And a lot of people are like, oh, don't talk about analytics. But obviously, let's say you're spending money to advertise to your funnel, right? It's pretty important that you know what's happening, what's happening in all your major conversion points.
Yeah, and this could integrate easily with Wicked reports or whatever else you wanted to use, right? Because this is just a WordPress site.
It's just, and you've probably, hopefully, already got Google Analytics, and maybe you've got some other, like Monster Insights or something that works with Google Analytics. This is already built into your site, and you don't have to do any domain jumping because, for example, the registration domain isn't someone else's. It's yours. It's your site. The view page isn't happening on some other system. It's happening on your site. So the ability to really see clearly what's happening in the spectrum of your funnel is baked in, you might say, because everything is contained within your WordPress site.
I gotcha. Well, let's pause now so that we can wait like another 3 or 4 minutes and not hog up time here. And then we'll resume this when this thing is ready to wake up.
Perfect.
Okay, so we're back here, and probably within the next 60 seconds or so, this thing will wake up. But so we're in the waiting room. It's like, we're like the rare early birds that showed up early for a webinar. Now, let me ask you, is there a feature so that if I show up maybe a couple minutes late, it'll still show it to me?
Yes, there absolutely is. And depending upon how much late, it's going to start a few minutes into the webinar, obviously not so far as to miss critical information. But it gives a more what's the word I want? Realistic experience for the attendee. Oh, I'm late. If it starts at the beginning, it seems like, well, did it really matter if I was on time or not?
Right. And then if they show up past a certain time, like, let's say it's a 45-minute, if they show past the 20-minute mark, you can say, hey, you're too late, you can't see it.
Yes, and then they would be redirected to a page that is, oops, you missed it. Again, you can put anything on that page you want. Oops, you missed it is probably not all that you would want to add on there.
Right. Cool. So now it's like tick tock. We're waiting for this.
I know, waiting. The longest 15 seconds ever.
Yeah. So, cool. So you do have this for those of you that are partners. There is an offer. I guess Infusionsoft Certified Partners get this included with their certifications.
Yes, absolutely. Oh,
hey,
here we are.
Hey, look at that.
Look at there.
Okay, forget my question. Go to this.
So now we have about 2 minutes and 30 seconds of baby goats. And you'll also notice underneath the video, again, the font's a little small, you may not see it, but down here it says, in 30 seconds, a call to action will appear. And it's going to show us a little button. Now, full disclosure, this is not yet a built-in feature with Convert More. See, there's Claim Your Baby Goat. That's our call to action, little button right there. That is actually being structured with a little Memberium shortcode to make that happen. But the point being is that whatever plugins and functionality that you already have on your website, or you can add through the addition of other plugins, you can layer that into your experience or into the user experience around your webinars, right?
But a timed call to action is something you guys will be adding, right?
Probably we will, yes. As I think I noted, I can't remember if we were on the recording part or not. We are adding features as people request them, and we evaluate them in terms of feasibility, et cetera. If a feature is widely available through a lot of simple free plugins that are easy to access, we're not going to try to reinvent the wheel. Again, this is a WordPress plugin, so you have access to everything that's already on your WordPress site on any page that's running your Convert More webinars, like a chatbot, for example. If you've got one running on your site, you can put it on this page that goes along with your webinar view.
No, and you're right. We use Thrive Themes a lot, and Thrive Themes has a delayed appearance widget. So
so you would just utilize the functionality already built within the theme that you are building on.
And then so as this thing's running and it'll finally end. So if I go to the very end and I don't do the call to action, I'll be tagged a certain way.
Yes, that's correct. So so right now the webinar as it is running is going to apply to this test registrant. It's going to apply that we viewed the call to action, because we're actually already past that point where I have it set up.
Right. So they would have gotten a registration tag, stuck around long enough to see the call to action.
Well, they got a logged on tag indicating that they logged on to the registered view or to the scheduled view. And now this contact has also received a viewed call to action, which would drop this contact into the follow-up to purchase, not follow-up to go view the webinar. So and now it has closed out.
Yeah. Now, I want one of the things that while we were waiting there in that quiet, I was talking to MaryKay, is that this looks really simple. I mean, almost trivial. Yet the amount of power that's built in underneath. I mean, I've used EverWebinar. I've used webinar tools before. The fact that I've got this widget shortcode based ability to build whatever I want is fabulous. And I'm sure you guys, again, you're in beta. Once you guys get a really cool demo that really highlights everything in it, it'll, for the less familiar webinar types, this will really come alive. But, as a consultant in this space, this is like a really cool idea.
Yeah. And it's all, it's shortcode driven. What's on this page is a little shortcode, to put the webinar here. That's all it takes. Another thing that we chose to do is, unlike most of the webinar systems where you have to have your webinar hosted on their system, you can keep your webinar wherever it probably is already. If it's on YouTube, great. If it's on Vimeo, fine. If it's on Wistia, no problem. So that also can give you the layering in terms of functionality of whatever bells and whistles those particular options for video hosting give you. Like Wistia, for example, has incredible analytics. Well, you don't lose those analytics because your webinar, if you use Wistia and you use it to get the analytics, great. You're still going to have those analytics from Wistia that you're already using anyway. There's no hosting, no hidden fees for hosting, none of that stuff. You've got your videos where they already are.
Cool. Well, MaryKay, hey, thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Thanks for spending some time with the baby goats. It's great.
Yeah. I'm excited. Now that I have signed up to get my copy of it, but it's been sitting there shelfware style. Now that I've seen this, I'm going to kind of put this into high gear. I actually hacked together a poor man's version of a webinar just because I don't really do a lot of it, but we're about to launch something, and this is definitely something I want to do. So MaryKay, if people want to reach you, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can, obviously you can go to convertmorewebinars.com. And you can click the button to contact us, fill out the form, ask us a question. We are open for business. We'd love to have you on board. If you are a partner, log into the Facebook Keep Partners group. There is a post in there for me that tells you how to go about getting your partner account, but just ping me. You know, if you can't see that, run a little search. I'm happy to share that information, but it is over in the partner Facebook group. If you are want to be a customer, please come on board for beta. We're going to do a lot of love on our beta users. You're going to get a lot of extra support, personal support from me around strategy, setup, the whole 9 yards. We're thrilled to have you on board. And yeah, we're just really excited to get this launched.
Good. And thanks for joining me. Have a great one.
Thanks, George. You as well. Awesome.
Okay,